Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. Join family court fraud warriors. Stop the corruption. Stop selling our kids. Stop casting out the dads. Stop making the moms go crazy mad. This is not the America we are supposed to be in. We need to make parenting great again. Family court fraud warriors are on the attack. Join our fight, let's get them back. We can't allow this continue. Kids saying goodbye through windows. Dad's going far away. Moms can't live another day. These courts are killing us. They are breaking families apart. They have no fear of retribution. We need a solution. Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. Give us back our freedom. Make parenting great again. They have got the support of warriors coming from all walks of life. These people stand for their freedoms. You're too weak, they are here to fight. So sleep heavy one more day. Know the help is on the way. Lead by a legend, not a tyrant. The presence he has is like a giant. No more backing down. Turn these courts upside down. Restoring faith in mothers' eyes. No more tears on the courthouse floor. Just a family walking out the door. Those times are in the past. Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. We are tired of the corruption. Make parenting great again.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Sunday evening. It is a 11:16, 8:24. We're a little bit late, but hey, better late than never because perfection takes time. I am the CPS Punisher, and tonight we have a show for. You know what? If you guys have a chance and you haven't shared this out yet, I think that you really, really, really need to do that because this message here that's getting ready to come out is, you just can't believe the corruption that we have proof of tonight that you're going to see. Of course, it comes from the infamous Family Fraud Warrior Project, Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. Dave Waggle, man out there with this guy has definitely brought the fight to the courthouse, no doubt about it, and he's doing it with great success. So I want to thank all of you guys for coming out here tonight, and I'm going to bring out your guys' leader, Mr. Dave Waggle.
Hey, thank you for the great introduction. Yeah, Waggle, you can call me whatever you want, brother.
Hey, I'm French, man. You know, I got a last name of Guay. Imagine how that would
We're yeah, I've been called worse this week.
Right. Today. Right.
Half an hour ago for dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, we got oh my God, started this at started this project a long time ago, but today started at 5:30 in the morning, and yeah, literally just got it here through. The wonders of technology that we're all working through here, but we're here, and we have got I have trouble finding the words. This is the level of egregiousness. There's really just no words for the arrogance of how obvious this is. You know, I mean, we've all experienced this binge of it. Just reminds me of the worst kind of drug addict. Like that, but it's just power. It's not a drug. It's power, and the level of belligerence in. They just didn't even care how obvious this was, and this wasn't just ripping off somebody's $500,000 house or something like this, right?
No.
This wasn't just some nobody. I mean, this guy Bryce performed in front of 2 U.S. presidents. He's a direct descendant of Abraham Lincoln. Right? Abraham Lincoln. And how apropos is that, Darren? We're talking about this level of treason going on, and we talked about this in the podcast months and months.
Look at the civil liberties.
Our enemies would never be so smart as to watch America just implode from the inside out through this family court, and to sit there and think of the Benedict Arnolds in this country here. They're not, they're not, what, optics would tell you a criminal looks like. No, they're in robes and they're in suits and they came from all the great schools. But we're going to have an opportunity to take a look in their eyes. And, I always find that you could actually even look at a picture of these people and see the level of disgust and demon in them. What they did to this man, what they've done to his family, what they've done to his, he's a hero for just being able to be, on 2 feet at this point and breathing, with the level of spent almost 2 years in jail over this. And again, we'll get back, Darren, to Title 4D. How'd they pull it off, Darren? How'd they pull it off?
Steal it, man.
Good old, when in doubt, just go right for that damn Deadbeat Fathers Act.
Yep. Didn't pay your child support, buddy. In jail you go. So you can't work, you can't drive, you can't pay your child support now because you're in jail. So that's wicked smart.
Yeah. And look at these numbers here: $25,000 to $150 million.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that level of obnoxiousness there is just outrageous. We're going to start off the conversation before we bring in Bryce, and I asked Richard Luthman to join us as well to get different perspectives here. Obviously, I've been working with Bryce for a couple of months here now, and evaluating the entire ins and outs of the story and all the evidence. And I mean, I think my jaw is bruised from the amount of times it's dropped to the floor in this thing. But
you'll sleep better tonight, Dave, knowing that now this story's finally out and people realize
it's out, and this evidence, what you're going to see right now, ladies and gentlemen, got a man murdered. Okay. It's as obvious as the day is wrong. I'm not going to say alleged. I'm not. Okay. Because I said from the beginning here that I know from Wall Street, they use legalese to hide meaning and to manipulate people. I said, no, I'm going to just go forward and tell the court of public opinion in normal English, normal, speak. Okay, what's going on? There's just not even, it's not even like 0.0001% probability that it wasn't, it's just follow the money. It's not only 1 or 2 steps here that were taken that look like, oh yeah, It's just an entire series of, are you effing kidding me? Are you effing? It's just, and this is, I mean, you got to think about it, right? When you have this system of no consequences, what does that breed? What does that breed, right? It breeds this level of psychopathy. And this is
mob mentality,
This is like, and for them to flaunt, that's what it is. It's flaunting of their power. But I don't think they're feeling too powerful right now, knowing that this is on for life, for forever. Permanent public record. You are felonious murderers. Murderers of this guy, Joe.
Yes,
period. End of story. Period. End of story. And guess what? I don't live in your little sphere of corruption there, buddy. So you're gonna send a little sheriff over to rough me up. He's got a long, long ride up to Manhattan.
Yeah, or if wherever you are. Isn't it ironic that they're pressing a descendant of one of the biggest civil rights presidents, I guess we could say, of this country? I mean, aside from, if you want to say it's John F. Kennedy, but Abraham Lincoln. Right. I mean, think about his tenure as president. Like that, his whole thing was about freeing the slaves and getting them their freedom to enjoy that of every man. And here they are now oppressing one of his descendants. There's just,
it is so apropos when looking through the lens of what we've been talking about, this being treason, right? It's so apropos that this happens to happen to a man who is a direct descendant of Abraham Lincoln. So apropos. I mean, and I hope that this is the the straw that broke the camel's back to really get this far and wide to John and Jane Q. Public, to get them to actually understand, the severity of really what's going on here. Okay, in this in this environment, but what we're watching, I came, I'm splitting time. I came back. I went in my mail. I found this thumb drive that was sent to me, and I put it in there. And poor Bryce has been on the run. They are trying to lock him up for anything. Wait till we get into that story. It's oh my God. Did you know that? Did you know that? Sending emails between two attorneys, right? If you're a pro se attorney and you send an email to an attorney, that you could that could be stalking. Darren, did you know
stalking?
That? Yeah. In Texas, sending too many emails that say, "Hey, hey, bastard, you stole my land. You better give it back." That qualifies as stalking in this lawless land called family court.
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't ever end. And they just make the rules up for what they want. Like, let's figure out what we need today to be what we need to win our day. That's all it is.
Because the
how are we going to put the most money in our pocket?
Yeah, the biggest culprits in the world. We're going to start selling hats at the Family Court Fraud Warrior. All right, and what these hats are going to say? Going to say FBI, Fear-Ridden Bitches Incorporated. And I want it on the heads of every American patriot in this country to humiliate them out of their offices into their job, because now it's not even about dirty judges and cash for kids and family terrorism. This is right squarely in their world. Okay. Collusion and murder. This is their 100% world. And I've been saying forever, Darren, and people just, have a hard time getting their head around this here, is that they have formed a mafia. The mafia is now inside the government. Okay. You will not get one attorney. They're all attorneys. Okay. They're all attorneys. They're all bar card holders, right? Every one of them are bar card holders. And that bar card is the mafia, is your ticket to organized crime. And it's why the Main Street media won't report on it. Everybody else is scared. Everybody else is scared because, obviously when they retaliate this way.
Right. And it hurts hard. It hurts really hard, man, when these family courts come at you, because they take away your soul, man. They take away your kids. They take away your wallet. They take away everything. Yeah. I mean, they just break you right there so that you can't fight. You don't have a choice. It's crazy. It's so amazing that people that have not been involved with family courts don't realize what we're talking about. They think we're lunatics.
Absolutely.
You did something wrong. You did something wrong. Now you pay the price for it. Well, that's not the case in 98% of these cases that you see come through family law. They're liars. They're freaking liars. Every damn one of them. You know, those judges are lying. They don't listen to the truth. Vincent Davis used to tell me that there's two things in family law court that doesn't happen. That's the truth and law. Those are the two things, you know, and Vincent Davis is one of the biggest attorneys for, fighting CPS. And for him to say that, that's really something, like, think about that, people. The law and the truth don't get fought in a family court.
But you know what? I mean, that's, again, not even profound enough, right? Because it's like, I call it America's Auschwitz. And I think that that is the only thing that really speaks to the severity of actually what it is. Because these people are at such a level of evil. They know they're destroying the country. They're destroying the country, one family at a time. I mean, it's so perverse. It is so universal everywhere. I mean, they know what they're doing. And I don't doubt if they have some sort of perverse enjoyment from it. You know, this Nazi prison guard syndrome. Okay, where they actually enjoy the torture, right? They've tortured this guy Bryce.
Right.
They've tortured so many of my victims in our group. Yeah, every day when I hear another story, it's torturous. I just hope this goes, Darren, to every corner of the earth, and I just want everybody to have the opportunity to have their jaw drop with this level of obnoxiousness and obviousness. I mean, it's just not even close what's gone on here. And they had no idea that this video existed. I mean,
well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because they would have wiped us out before we started.
That's right. That's right. They had no idea. And unfortunately, Bryce will talk about it, but he finally let them know through a handwritten note from jail and let them know, by the way, mother effers, okay, that sale of my property was recorded. And you'll see there's only a handful of people in there. They knew exactly who did it. It was a friend of his who lived on his land in the trailer in the back. And less than a month later, it was like 2 weeks later, by the time the letter got there in the regular mail, they saw it and everything. About 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, man's dead, shot in the stomach. Let me ask you something, Darren.
Stomach.
If you're gonna commit suicide, you generally want the pain to end, don't you?
Well, yeah, I would think that. I used to do that for a living, Dave, and I've never even heard of that. That used to be my job. I was a bio-recovery cleaner. Never once have I heard. I've done over 600 of those cleanups. Never once have I heard of anybody shooting themselves in the stomach.
Yeah. There's just no way. There's no way that you commit suicide by shooting yourself in the stomach. By the way, the guy was in a wheelchair, just had back surgery too. So try to figure that out. That maneuver.
So now you gotta come down, and it's much easier to go. But wow. So what do you think? Should we bring in Mr. Lutherman? Give us a little chat, or do you want to go with your video?
Yeah, I think we should probably but let's bring in Mr. Lutherman, and I'd like to talk, about the legalities once we have the opportunity to see the video. How we doing, Rich?
Hey guys, how are you?
Oh, another day in paradise here. Another day in the United States of Russia.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And the way you were talking before, it made me think of something. It's you said, Abraham Lincoln and the Constitution and Bryce Chapman, but I think John Adams said it, that the Constitution of the United States was made for a moral and honest populace, not what we have today. And they keep on saying, what happens when the morality leaves? You have a kleptocracy. And for years, you're right, Dave, it was the Soviet Union. What were the Soviets good at? The spies would come in and steal everything that America ever made and try to, reverse engineer it. Well, now we have that in our own system, in the family courts. It's a kleptocracy. They like to steal. The people produce things, and the family court exists to steal. They figure what? 1 out of 2 divorces, or 1 out of 2 marriages ended in divorce. They're going to get you sooner or later, if not being a repeat customer, and they're going to get that clause into you somehow. So it's a scary, scary situation.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna. By the way, I'm seeing some of the comments coming in. We're gonna play the full video. I know I posted it 2 seconds before coming on here. It literally took that long. We've been working at it since 5 in the morning, trying to put pieces together that align with the evidence to tell the story. Kristen Vermeulen, she has been a superstar for us. We dumped this on her lap on Friday, and she hasn't slept, and she just pulled it off. And it was about a month's worth of work she did in 2 days. So we cannot, we can't say thank you enough. I mean, there's some cleanup items in there. It's not a very, very good recording. Obviously, it's, you know, taken in secret there, but we do have the closed captions on there that everybody can read and follow. We will clean up it when we have a little bit more time, but we needed to we needed to drop this evidence and get this evidence on permanent public record for all of our sakes. Okay, to now, okay, you know, it doesn't make sense for them to off any one of us, okay, or me, all right, because ain't gonna pull this evidence off the internet from this point on.
No, it's here now, man. It's here.
Absolutely, and it's staying here. I think we should get into it. I think we should just watch the. It's 12 minutes long,
okay,
and then we'll you know, come back a little bit right after it, and then we'll go through the beginning. We'll go through each scene and give you the backstory there, and we'll have a special guest joining us to fill in the gaps as well.
All right, well, let's do that, guys. We'll be back with you guys in just a second. Enjoy this video and. Take your pens and papers out, people. Write some notes down because you're going to have some questions. All right.
Here's a difficult to see here. You might want to pause it a little bit, but basically that speaks to.
Oh, you want me to go back to the.
Yeah, it's basically a trigger warning. And the video that you're about to watch has been taken in secret on July 6, 2021 in the county courthouse in Lubbock, Texas. It was taken to defend an innocent man from allowing his 100 million plus, he estimates, 150, 160 million dollar property from being hijacked by a group of corrupt officers of the court.
All right, well, let's do this.
And the next page there on 11/22, the landowner informed that group that this tape existed, and less than a month later, the friend who recorded it was found dead on his land, shot in the stomach.
Wow,
interesting timing there, right, Rich? From a legal perspective, would you say?
Yeah, you would think so, right? It's a little out of control.
Yeah. But go ahead, Darren. You could let it go.
All right. Here we go, guys.
So first part is really talking about who Bryce is. He was found dead on Bryce's land. He's a horse trainer. Beautiful daughter. She's 20 years old right now. Of course, this has driven a wedge between them.
Hi, my name is Bryce Chapman. 2004, my wife filed for divorce. And her attorney was Stephen Johnson. At that point, he threatened to take everything I own, ruin my reputation and my career. When he was her attorney. In 2015, my wife filed again. The judge that signed for my divorce decree was her first attorney, Stephen Johnson. I've been incarcerated for 582 days on a void judgment, on a void divorce decree. The judge cannot be the attorney for one of the litigants in the same matter of controversy under Texas Rules of Civil Procedure 18B1A. I've been fighting this case for 10 years. They've stolen my ranch. The judges and attorneys in Lubbock They threatened to kill me. The sheriff threatened to kill me. I have all this on video. They sold my ranch in Lubbock to a guy that is friends with the Chief Justice for the Amarillo Court of Appeals. The corruption is deep. My life is in danger. They're trying to get me for stalking, for contacting this attorney named Matthew Lawrence Harris out of Lubbock, Texas. He's a criminal. This has got to stop before somebody gets killed. The guy that videoed the sale of my ranch is now dead after I contacted the friend of the judge that told him, and I told him that he was in possession of stolen property. 20 days after I contacted him by mail, Joe Alpanalpa was dead behind my house. This is corruption and organized crime. Also, Senator Charles Perry knows about this. All the water issues in the Texas legislative session this last year in 2025 discussed water issues, and most of it was concerning my ranch in Lubbock. The judge, Brian Quinn, the Chief Justice for the Amarillo Court of Appeals, owns property in close proximity to my ranch, and he stands to gain, according to this contract, is $250 million. They fraudulently stolen my property, which is worth about $160 to $180 million. The fraud is deep. It goes to even Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows. I was present at one of his fundraisers. I told him about this issue, and they continue to avoid me, and they don't want to discuss this issue. Even under the Texas Constitution, Article 5, Section 11 of the Texas Constitution states that no judge shall sit in the case and must disqualify. So there are two prongs or 2 points of the law in my case since 2016, and this is 2015. I've been fighting this going on 9 years, and they won't leave me alone. They have sold my other property. My wife's second attorney, because the other one was the judge, says that he owns my other property based on child support. That entire divorce decree, child support, and property division is void. That's my story, and I sure could use some help.
Together we are stronger. United we can begin to heal this land.
So here comes the actual video, the secret video.
Levy upon certain real property situated in Lubbock County described as follows.
Really got to read this more than hear it.
11 East 50th Street, Lubbock County, Texas, 79414. Levied upon as the property of Charles Bryce Chapman, and that on the first Tuesday of July 2021, same being the 6th day of said month. Gazebo was located at the South Courthouse. Lubbock County, City of Lubbock, Texas, at 10 a.m. by virtue of said levy, in order of sale, to sell the above described property at public venue, cash to the highest bidder. The property of Charles Bryce Chapman, and complies with law. I give this notice by publication in the English language once a week for 3 weeks proceeding. Said day of sales of slate night and newspaper published in Lubbock County. Witness by hand is 4th day of May 2021. Deputy Dan Hunter, Civil Division. The opening bid for this property $250,000.
So what is the pretense of the sale?
Sorry?
What is the sale, under what pretense is the sale being?
This pretense is following the execution that we have
the attorney's office, Matthew Harris. This property has a lien. Has the lien owner been notified? It has. That's why it's
Does that clear the lien? 250. That will cover the lien.
We got this out here too. This property is homesteaded. We don't need any of that, sir.
We're taking bids starting at 250. Now, we're not here to discuss.
He's notifying him there's a lien on the property, which means it can't be sold, and they're just blowing it off.
Minimum bid is $250,000.
Rebidding?
No, sir. Any bids? $250,000.
One month.
Dollar more, $250,000 and $1 more.
50 and $2. More bid?
I don't think anybody that buys this property is going to get the lien sold and take control of it. There's a lien filed.
We're not here to discuss it.
That's a friend speaking up for him.
Any more bids? Going once, twice. Saw the gentleman back. $2 more.
$160 million land go for $250,000. Not a bad deal. And why is Matt Harris there? He's got no interest in being there. Why is he there? Oh, checking on his vested interest. It is a homestead. It is a homestead that cannot be sold at auction. So this guy who's up there and signing the paperwork to sell it, that is the business partner of the best friend of the judge's son.
But it's time to bring the corruption and injustice to an end. In their own minds where the truth is buried deep, their hidden agendas are full of secrets that they keep. The lies they spun and tactics so carefully designed to profit from trafficking our children and keeping innocent people confined. They make promises they can't keep and ignore the cries of those that need. Our system is broken, lacking
That is what you
honesty
said.
and empathy. Removing children from loving homes by lying and abusing their authority, doing whatever they want without any accountability.
Now you know why they're
Trusted them to leave, but now it's clear to see that they only care about power and their own prosperity. I know you feel helpless.
All right, we can cut it off here, Darren.
Find out soon that you are stronger than you think, and there are more.
Yeah, so we are gonna back it up, and we're going to tell you more about exactly what you guys saw there. I mean, you can't even count.
That's just crazy.
You can't even. First of all, Darren, I sent you the advertisement. I just emailed it over to you. So they're required for an auction, right, Rich? You're familiar with this. You got a legal background. They're required to advertise this auction, okay? And they did, and they advertised it in a community with a total population of 3,000 people and a total circulation of 300. 30. On top of that, they announce the sale at the gazebo in front of the town hall. They sold 3 properties auction before this property and then moved it inside the courthouse onto the 4th floor. Right there is illegal. Right there. Now the public has no idea where the auction is being held. The advertisement says it's being held at the gazebo in front, and they moved just the sale of this property inside the courthouse to the 4th floor. And that's why you saw everybody in that courthouse was there. A couple of friends of Bryce and some like key, court people. Everybody, it's all incestual. Okay. You see there's kids there. Okay. There was nobody in there. It was a one bidder auction. One bidder. And isn't there a law called structuring? Shouldn't the first bid be a natural bid from a natural buyer, not set by the sheriff? We're going to start the bidding at $250. It's $150 million land. We're going to start the bidding at $250. I don't know if you heard this. He went from $250,000 to $250,000 and $1, $250,000 and $2. So there it is. There it is. Right there says at the gazebo, in front of the bottom there, right in front of the courthouse of Lubbock County in the city of Lubbock at 10 a.m. And I don't know, did that sale seem to look like outside in a gazebo to you, Darren?
I don't think that I saw any blue sky or trees inside that place that they were at.
Yeah. And there's even a law in Texas that you have to be a licensed auctioneer. Okay, you actually have to follow certain rules. Now a sheriff can do it if he holds that license. I don't believe that this sheriff did. But right then and there, Rich, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
There's something in this country called due process of law. Okay, it's in our 5th Amendment and it's our 14th Amendment, so it applies to all the states. The 14th. And there are 2 components to due process: notice and an opportunity to be heard. So all we've seen so far is defective notice and no opportunity to be heard. There's a long history in our country, and in the Supreme Court precedent. There's a very famous case called Pennoyer v. Neff. And that case talks about due process. It talks about the service of papers. It talks about notice for a lawsuit. And in that case, there's a similar fact in that case, and that's an 1877 case. Pennoyer tried to sue Neff, and he published the lawsuit in a very small circulation newspaper in Portland, Oregon, called the Pacific Christian Advocate. It might have even less of a circulation in 1877 than the one in Texas did today. I think it was a 300 in the Lubbock paper. But the Supreme Court ultimately ruled that it was not good. The service was no good. The notice was defective. And I think that if this case ever, ardently or truly or genuinely saw the inside of a courthouse without a crooked judiciary, then I think they would rule that there was a defect in notice in the very, very beginning by virtue of the publication at a newspaper that's not of general, circulation.
You can't even keep up with the illegalities here.
Number 2, the publication itself, as you've demonstrated, what it says in the notice, the legal notice, was not correct to what happened in reality of the auction. So everybody knows this basic legal fact about due process. If you get a speeding ticket and the cop puts down the wrong make and model of your car, you go to the judge and you say, look, I was driving, a 2015 Buick. This guy had in a 2020 red Corvette. I wasn't in a Corvette. I was in a Buick. The judge will say, you're right. The case is gone. They have to do the same thing here. If they said, we're going to go to the gazebo, right, then the onus is on the other side to show, well, was there a real reason why it wasn't at the gazebo? What things did you do to make sure that people actually found this auction? Was there an actual opportunity to be heard? Was there actual notice that wasn't defective? So just those basic factual issues on the face of this crooked auction are very, very problematic. And that's just an auction. And I know, Dave, you've been looking at this for months, and I've been looking at this for a few weeks already. That's just the tip of the iceberg. When I tell you the tip of the iceberg here, what they're doing to this poor man is beyond the pale. And so this is just a very, very simple thing.
But even before that, Rich, it shouldn't even be there. The most egregious thing, the most jaw-dropping thing in the world is the guy, the judge that signed off on his divorce decree was his wife's attorney a couple of years
Yeah.
Yep. We didn't even get to that. That's a basic thing.
Why would they even do that? I mean, is that laziness? Is that arrogance? Is it stupidity? I mean, with all the people they've got, are they really running out of human beings there? They actually allow, is that flaunting of their power? The attorney becomes the judge. I mean, you can't even like let conflict of interest come out of your mouth with that. So it makes everything null and void.
Well, yeah, that becomes another procedural due process issue. You're 100% right. And actually a constitutional level issue and a statutory issue in Texas about who can sit on a case under the judicial canons of ethics, right? Yeah. So if you're a judge, you have to recuse yourself for one of several reasons. One, if you have somebody that's related to you by blood or by marriage there, you have to get off the case. You can't be judging cases where you have, relatives. Number two, if you have an interest in the outcome, right? If I'm interested in the outcome of a litigation and I'm the judge, I cannot sit on the case. Number three, a situation where you're actually biased. There's a reason in the case where you can't sit and do the case. I saw this actually after 9/11, where I saw a judge, and there was two brothers from the West Bank, and they were arguing over property. And the judge says, I have to recuse myself. 9/11 happened a few months ago. And I don't think I can be fair on this case. So, you just send it to another judge because my emotions are too high. It happens sometimes. And then there's another reason, which is called the appearance of impropriety, right? So of those four, and there are other technical reasons, but of those four, there are two that are really applicable here. One is an interest in the outcome, which we'll talk about in a second, but the big one is the appearance of impropriety. And that is when you have someone who was the attorney for someone's ex, for their former spouse in a divorce case, and you're still in the iterations of a case related to the divorce, related to the property, related to the estate.
How about the same
property,
divorce?
That guy cannot be the judge on the case.
Right.
That is what's called the appearance of impropriety. There's no one on God's green earth that's not drunk or high or out of their mind that thinks that judge could be fully impartial. There's no way that they can sit there and be that judge. And so that judge should have been off almost immediately. He should have said, I want no part of this case. The fact is, he wanted part of this case. And what the evidence is starting to show is that he wanted part of this case for another reason why he should have been disqualified. And that's because he had an interest in the outcome of the litigation. And the interest being is he got a piece of the windfall that these people got robbing Bryce Chapman of his ranch. They got a windfall. It's worth $150 million. They got it for $250,000 and $2. There was plenty of money to go around, and everybody who got money out of that has an interest. And this judge appears, from what we've seen so far, to have had an interest. It was a crooked deal from the beginning.
Like Rich? Why not sell it for $25 million or $50 million? You can't just pocket a cool $100 million. You got to be so egregious. You know, it reminds me of, Rich, the old saying, the old adage on Wall Street: bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. Yep. Right. Welcome to the slaughter, pigs. Welcome to the slaughter.
They're acting like hogs. That's just it, and that's what's going to happen to them. I think that this is something that it's such an egregious issue that I think that either statewide law enforcement, Ken Paxton and the Attorney General of Texas, has to look at it. Maybe even federal law enforcement has to look at this. I know that I think it's still within, because it's 2021. I think it might be within. I think it's a 6-year statute to reverse it. But absent fraud, there's no statute of limitations civilly. And there may be a situation where this is an ongoing type criminal enterprise that these people are engaged in. So there might not be a statute of limitations for criminal prosecution. So
it's a criminal enterprise already. I mean, Bryce is actually on the run. He's convinced that if they arrest him again, they're trying to arrest him for stalking by sending 30 emails over 4 months to the other attorney. Bryce is pro se. So that's an attorney speaking to another attorney through email. And by the way, Rich, you have that function on your email. Like if somebody emails you don't like, you just go block, right?
Yeah, I send them right to spam, or I send them right to block, whatever I want to do.
Right, you could do that. So the obnoxiousness and the egregiousness just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's not wrong. Okay, with the amount of inbred corruption going on there in Texas, and the amount of money that is involved here. I mean, what are these judges? How difficult is it to grab some murderer out of prison and be like, hey, you want to get out? Okay, take care of this thing for me here. All right, you'll get out. How easy is that? How easy is that?
And it's not hard to trace the money. That's what these people are not aware of. You know, it's not like, I don't think these guys are sophisticated enough to have layered, you know, Swiss bank account to a Malta trust.
No, they think they're untouchable.
Company. This is like they just took the money and they like kind of divvied it up in the back of the pickup truck. So if anybody came in and did any type of financial analysis, you know, forensic analysis, these guys are all walking out in bracelets. I can't see how this. You know,
because they know the FBI's bought off. They know the Main Street media news is bought off. They know they didn't think this would happen. They didn't think, you know, a community watchdog organization would just erupt and then we would just be able to get 500,000 eyeballs, okay, looking at this and growing every single day. And all these people, tens of thousands of victims of the same thing, okay, all coming together at the same time. And just like our campaign, Rich, at the Family Court Fraud Warrior right now to collect these 2,000 bar complaints. You know, I can't wait till we get 2,000 because by their own records, okay, Amy Duncan from the head of research for us, you pulled up all of the annual reports that they are forced to publish, and by their own records show 98% plus are rejected. How are you the Bar Association is taking government funds to protect the public, to be a regulator. That by their own reckoning, by their own numbers, they are hiding the evidence of this nationwide racketeering scheme. The Bar Association is front and center responsible. Anyone want to know why the family court is the way it is? One entity is responsible. Okay, they didn't circulate a memo around all these 4,300 family courts. They all knew that the Bar Association is mafia head, and it's a front, okay? And by their own records, they never, you know what? They never thought that they didn't see social media coming. These are lawyers, they're not tech people. They didn't see social media coming, right? They never thought that tens of thousands of victims would ever come together. And even if they did, they knew that they've mentally tormented so much of us that it would be extremely difficult for us all to come together in any kind of cohesive fashion. And they weren't wrong about that. It has been extremely difficult. There is so much mental illness. But the other thing they don't remember is they never, ever thought that when they're rejecting all these complaints, all right, they throw them out immediately. Okay. You're not getting them ever again. And they never thought that there would be any means to collect all these complaints directly from the victims themselves. Now have it sit on a public ledger and for the world to see just how valid they are. How they're all saying the exact same thing. Ex parte communications, you know, okay, decision after decision after decision by the judge against the law. All right. So, you know, Deirdre, I saw some, comments coming up. She said, what did they think that this videotape would just disappear? Well, Deirdre, what do you think they were going to do? Just give back the $100 million? Okay. Right. You know, as soon as it came in here, we're caught. They destroyed his camper. Okay. That's the other bit of evidence that it makes it so obvious. It was not a suicide because when they found him, his trailer was destroyed. They went through every single thing in that place. It was torn apart. So a suicide? Who did that? What do we have? Was that Attack of the Chipmunks? Okay, that just came in there. So this thing just stinks higher and higher to heaven. It's just absolutely, again, there's not a word big enough. Okay, outrageous doesn't do it. Outrageous just doesn't do it. But you know, Now, here's the other piece of information. Now, guess who owns the land next to Bryce? Directly next. Oh,
Judge, right? Judge
by the name of Brian Quinn. Okay. Who was the one bidder in that you saw at the end, that guy that came up? He worked for Ross Holdings, and his business partner is the best friend of the son of Judge Brian Quinn. And as soon as he landed that property, guess what happened a couple months later? It was sold to a power company for an over $200 million deal. So it wasn't just that they bought a piece of $100 million land, okay, for $250. They flipped it. They already knew they had a power deal, and this is this Lubbock Lake deal. And guess what? All right, they came to Bryce when he was on the property years ago. He wouldn't sell. Judge wanted to sell. He did not want to sell. Can you follow these breadcrumbs there? And then all of a sudden, right, Bryce is out of the picture. And wow, lo and behold, Ross Holdings, the best friend, the business partner of the best friend of the judge's son, he was accommodative. He thought, no, maybe it is a good time to sell. And lo and behold, we estimate that that Judge Brian Quinn made no less than $70 million, Rich, on this transaction. Made.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy. It's like it's not going to be hard to trace what happened from that closing table. There were two closing tables, right? There's one where it got from the state, so they $250,000 they had to come up with. Where'd that money come from? And then they have the property, and then they get in $200 million. Where did that money go? Where? Because you know the power company or the utility company is there. They didn't go anywhere. They have their records, and they by law they have to have them because they're a utility company. So we're going to know where the money came from. And now it's going to be like the easiest thing in the world to start figuring it out. These
and Rich, all this comes from $25,000 in child support. Even the $250, right? So once the $25,000 is paid back, Price is supposed to get the $225,000. Or Christina, his wife, or his child. No, they just pocketed that too. Yeah. I mean, the level of piggishness here. The level of piggishness.
What do you say? Do we bring him out and hear what he has to say about his story?
Yeah, he can fill in the gaps with us. Let's see what he's got to say.
All right. Let's get out Mr. Bryce here. Bryce, there we go.
Yes, sir. How's everybody doing?
Wow.
It was a couple of months ago, Bryce, you found us and you did your 3 to 5 minute video and you said there at the end, you sure could use some help, couldn't you?
Well, I tell you what, this looks like a whole lot of help. I'm reading these comments and they're fantastic.
Yeah. No, this is going to be, the crown jewel of the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project. We're not going to find a more egregious case here from every side of the equation here. The level of disgust, what they've done to you. I mean, how long did you spend in jail, Bryce?
I spent 582 days in jail on a void judgment. Yeah,
and when they sent you to jail that time, that was on a non-payment of the child support?
Yeah, which I don't owe because the divorce decree, the child support, everybody's void everybody's been saying.
Even if you did, I live in Manhattan, okay? They got like serial murderers that they like
slap up. I tell you, they were going to leave me in jail for the rest of my life if I didn't pay. They were going to leave me in jail in 10-year increments and then renew it for the rest of my life. They said that I owed the attorney $6,000 and my wife, because I'm still married because the judgment's void. And guess what? My wife got remarried in June. I just found out yesterday. So that's bigamy in Texas. That's a 3rd-degree felony.
Yeah, just tack it on. Just tack it onto the list there. Just tack it onto the list. But you know what I wanted to do, Bryce, with Bryce here, Darren, if we could go back to the actual videotape, the actual evidence itself there. Deidre asked, whether did they think it was just going to disappear this tape. You know, what's your theory, Bryce, on that one?
Well, I guess that they moved it just so that they could. I mean, just to structure. It's called structuring. It's a felonious act. It's a felony. Uh, these people are masters at manipulating a system that they're trying to reach a desired outcome that the law simply does not provide. The law is very, very simple. Judge can't be the attorney. It's a void judgment. I'm reading Deidre Payne's comments on here, and all I need is a judge to sign a void judgment so that I can go home without getting shot and threatened and killed. There's a standing order in Lubbock County to shoot me on the spot. I have a sheriff that works for the sheriff that they said that I wouldn't even make it into the courthouse. To go to the courthouse, they would throw me in jail before I even got to the courtroom.
So they're going to shoot you. They're going to shoot
How do they even get away with that?
Emails.
They get away with whatever they want to get away with.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we do know that this family court thing is sinister and brilliant when you look at all the different ways and the pieces of coming together. I don't see that here. I see outrageously
pompous.
It would be stupid. You would think these people are stupid if it was about that, but it's not. Okay, it's that they want to flaunt that this is their power. They can be as obvious as they want to be with the evidence piling up. They can sit there and advertise it to be on the lawn and move it up into the courthouse. They can have it by an unlicensed sheriff, okay, who's structuring, who's coming out saying we're going to start the bidding. Right? Imagine like go into like a car auction, right? We're going to start we got a 1969 Mustang Fastback. We're going to start the bidding at a dime.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we can go back to the actual
video. Yeah. Where do you want to start at, David?
Yeah, start it right at the actual secret tape that was done by Joe Alpanalpa.
Okay. Yeah. Let me get forward and then.
I want me and Bryce to explain, exactly frame by frame what's happening there. I think it's really important for everybody to understand because you can't really hear what's going on. You can read below, but Bryce had a couple of friends there that were bringing it to their attention. Okay, number one, there was a lien on the property. What's the legalities there, Bryce, with the lien?
Well, the legality of the lien is it's kind of like a mechanic's lien. It's a fixture lien, like a UCC lien, and it's a notice, and they don't have the right to sell a homestead in Texas under Article 16, Section.
Well, that's another thing. The homestead.
Yeah.
It's void. It's everything on this case is void, and it stinks. These people are corrupt all the way to the Supreme Court of Texas. There's a judge that I sat down in Austin, Texas with. He's the Chief Justice for the Court of Criminal Appeals. He gave me some case law to use it was Toomey versus Ohio on a judicial disqualification of a judge, and said that if it ever comes across my desk, I'll sign it. Well, wow. I've signed all that stuff and sent stuff to the Court of Criminal Appeals, and I have heard nothing.
No. Because, and this is why we have this conversation all the time. And the biggest amount of brainwashing that has been done to us, and I cringe when I hear people talking about the law, is that it takes so long to finally get. The law is not in charge. The law is not doing anything. Okay. When I hear people sit there and say, well, if I do this and the law is this, they have to. The only thing any human has to do is what another human or a group of humans makes them do. So they know the FBI is bought off. They know the marshals are bought off. They know the system is frozen. No one is jumping into the lake first, right? Who's going to do it, right? You said, Bryce, that, this judge said this. That's like all these politicians. Bring it here. We'll do this, do that. They've been doing this for 30 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. Law is not in charge here. This is why we've set up the Family Court Fraud Warrior Project this way, because the only thing that they care about is everybody in their world knowing what a criminal they are, knowing they're involved in cash for kids, knowing they're involved in family terrorism, knowing they're involved in treason against this country. What is it with the family court the way it is right now? How many generations until, if this doesn't break, if we don't change things somehow, okay, how many generations until we are literally a dystopian society?
Yeah. So I got a quick question, Bryce. Have you gone to Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton? Have you gone to the executive branch?
I've sent them constitutional challenges. I wrote over 300 letters by hand while I was in jail. I even wrote one to the sheriff, and it was hand delivered back, file marked and stamped by the United States Postal Service unanswered. So, Sheriff Kelly Rowe, he's pretty sorry. I trick rope for him. I trick rope for that guy 6 times for his foreign exchange student program. And I called him, went into the office, talked to his secretary, talked to the sheriffs. I thought I was one of them, talked to the treasurer of Lubbock County named Chris Wynn. He knows about it. All 4 county commissioners know about it. County Commissioner Jason Corley even wrote me an email saying that he knows the judges stole my ranch to sell it to the city of Lubbock. It's the family court system is so corrupt, and it needs to be stopped. And I think that this Family Court Warriors Project is the catch me out. And this is what we all do, is band together. And if these, I read another one, if the banditos had come help this one guy, yeah, they need to help everybody. We need to band together and go arrest these fools.
Let me ask you a question, Bryce. Isn't it the law in Texas that you actually have the constitutional right or the legal right to make a citizen's arrest? To arrest these people?
Anybody that's noticed, that has seen that video of that sheriff's sale on this podcast, that is a first-degree felony committed in your presence. We could take 20, 30, 40, 100, or 5,000 bikers and go arrest those judges because that is a first-degree felony. If the police don't do anything about it, then what are the police? What good's the Constitution? Like you say, Dave.
How sweet would that be? You talk about counterintuitive here, right? The culprits wear black robes. The scum of the earth are in nice, shiny suits, right? And how sweet would it be if the Hells Angels gave Bryce Chapman an escorted ride into Lubbock County with all the cameras showing and blasted all over social media, so there's nothing but eyeballs everywhere. Are the Lubbock police going to just start firing into a sea of bikers and bikes? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Bryce, have you gone to the federal authorities with this? I know you've gone to a lot of the state authorities and you've kept good records of it. What about the federal authorities? Who have you talked to in that end?
I talked to the FBI twice. I've talked to the state troopers. I've talked to a man named Mike Brewster. He's a criminal investigating officer. They passed out a wanted poster for me, like I'm some criminal. I mean, and passed it all around Lubbock. Matt Harris did. He personally hand delivered this, and Mike Brewster of the Texas Public Department of Public Safety, he said there's something wrong with this, but did nothing.
Yeah. What I want to know is what's going through the mind of these guys in the FBI. Their moms are boring all the neighbors down in Florida talking about my Johnny's a top law enforcement agent. Like, how do these guys look themselves in the mirror? How do these guys kiss their kid and look their kids in the face, knowing what they do every day? They sit by and they facilitate and they let this happen. They let this happen we got 12,000 victims in the Family Court for a Warrior. We started in January. We're not even a year old. Okay. We're one of 390 groups on Facebook. Okay. I mean, how do you sit there and and just it's not money, right? So like, how do you exist in these organizations and live with yourself? I mean, talk about like what did you do with your time on this planet? You were a corrupt FBI or an incompetent FBI agent, okay? Or maybe they'll come bang my door down and they'll be real tough guys then, you know, and show me who's boss, right? It's like, what are you worth? What is your time on this planet worth? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, people ask me, Rich, back in the day, like, you know, what really happened, you know, in 2008, 2009? Who's really to blame? Well, I mean, who's really to blame was the regulators there too. Okay, them stamping those mortgages AAA. Okay, now, you know, they had to be taught. They were purposely understaffed. They can point to all these, things here. But here we are right now. How difficult would it be for somebody who the lead FBI agent in Texas to sit there and say, no, okay, this is too much now. Okay, this is now murder. Okay, it's $100 million, $150 million here. But you know what? Bottom line is, who is going to jump in the pool first? Who is going to be in their world the poster child for crushing this gravy train?
That's part of, Dave, what the project, the Warrior Project is. That's part of what journalism is. You know, we have a record. Now it becomes a permanent public record with everything that is there. All the people that Bryce has contacted, we're going to be putting out there. We're going to be putting out everything that we have, the correspondences, and they're going to be questioned again. Not questions for the first time, but questions again, and saying, on such and such date, you were presented with these facts, and here's the whole package. Well, what did you do? Why didn't you do anything? And are you going to do anything now? And that's the power of the media. That's the power of the blockchain aspect of the Family Court Warrior Project. The fact that now it's something that cannot be ignored. You know, people can be ignored one at a time, you know, little by little. But if it becomes a large, you know, critical mass, a cumulative mass, it can't be. And I think that's the next step. I know, Bryce. You're working the legal angles now. I know you have the biggest legal angles to keep you out of jail. But what other legal angles are you working? You hear me, Bryce?
Yes, I can hear you.
I asked you about what legal. I know the biggest one you're working is to keep you out of the pokey. But what other legal angles are you working right now?
Well, I mean, I've been. You can't imagine how many notices and motions that I've filed in this case for 10 years, and told them it was void, and told them the judges. They know that the judge was the attorney. They don't care. None of my motions, none of my subpoenas have been even addressed. Nothing has been addressed.
Documents at this point,
they
or
just
they
run over me.
Do they even file and stamp your documents at the courthouse at this point?
Say that one more time.
When you go to a court, your document should be stamped by the clerk and it should be part of the record. Do you have the documents are being stamped, that they're being destroyed, that they're being thrown away? Do you have any knowledge of that?
Well, I tell you what I did, and this is what everybody should do, is go to the courthouse and get a certified file marked copy of their cases. Because my first divorce, the 2004 case, they took it out of the archives down in the courthouse in Lubbock and removed it. But guess what? I went and got a certified file marked copy where Stephen Johnson signed it, and it's on the fraud court website stuff.
And unfortunately, Bryce, unfortunately, and this is another thing that takes so long to get through people's head here, is that no matter what evidence you have, we are still always left with three questions. Who's listening to this evidence? Who's listening to it? Who's the audience? Who's listening to it that has the power to do
the criminals?
Something?
The criminals themselves.
And then we're back to square one of, okay, even if they are listening and they have the power to do it, okay, like the FBI, well, who has the motivation? Who's going to sit there and say, I'm going to put my life on the line. I'm going to jeopardize my job. I'm going to jeopardize my pension. I'm going to jeopardize my family to step forward here, okay, and suffer all the retaliation, okay. We're always left with that. So, Deidre asked, the question again here. So then what can bring Bryce Chapman justice. I think it has to be shock value. I think it has to be shock value. I think something like 5,000 Hell's Angels rolling,
rumbling through,
with Bryce at the front, and all the movie cameras out, global news, everyone wondering what's going to happen. Are they going to take out guns? Are they going to shoot into the Hell's Angels? And just the beauty of that, like the culprit is these guys in suits, These came from great schools, and who are the fucking heroes? Who are the heroes? Oh, these are the tattooed guys, And guess what? They are all products of the family court, We've gotten word through the grapevine. They let me know. They wanted to let me know they're behind us. They're behind us, and they let me know that they got eyes on us, They're supporting what we're doing, and we may be actually having a sit down. I hope. We want to make a public plea to them and say we want to shut down the family court for a day. Besides Bryce Chapman, we want to have 5,000 Hell's Angels come in and surround the family court in Manhattan, and just in the middle of all these buildings, just lean on their engines and have it echo throughout all the way up to the Bronx. Because what is going to do this? What is going to do this is it's got to get out of these four walls, these special interest groups, like all of us that have had experience and are making a real, world for us, here. But, your average John Q. Public and Jane Q. Public has absolutely no idea. And that's why we keep saying this is not a court of law. This is theater. It's theater. And all they do in court is they act. They act like this is a legal process. It has nothing. It's all based on acting. So if they're going to do some acting, then we're going to need some Hollywood, right? We've got to make a multi-billion-dollar blockbuster, Get every person on the planet to have their jaw drop on this, and tell the whole story, of Abraham Lincoln's son. I mean, what does that say?
I've contacted
at this point in the family court now, where they can go in broad daylight and just torture an American hero. This man right here is a gem. He's if you look into his backstory here. He performed in front of 2 U.S. presidents. He's got notes from George W. Bush. If they can do that to him at this level, you can hijack $100 million and it goes by underneath the covers here. Nobody knows about. No one is going to say, what? We live in a lawless world. We live in Nicaragua right now. We live in a lawless world. This is the rule of law is gone. This is the rule of lawyer that we are in.
Correct. You're right.
I'm sick to my stomach over this. I don't even know where I want to raise my children at this point right now. How could you even want to stay in this society, in this country like this? I don't know anybody that has the means to pick up and go live someplace else. Why would you stay here?
Well, there's 254 counties in Texas, and any judge could sign an order saying that it's void, because it's void across the state of Texas. This particular case, and it's like anybody else's in these family court cases. If you have one thing that the court does not apply to that case, it makes your entire decree or your child support order void, as it never existed, because that is basically, they want to say it's a contract, but these people just run over everybody. I didn't lose custody of my kid. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't, I'm like Dave said, I'm a clean cut guy. And I can't, the only thing that I can understand about what they're doing is it's power, it's money, and they don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about how much, what a conversation they can go have at a gala and say, oh, we took this guy's property, or we took that guy's kid. I miss my little girl.
Yeah.
I know you do, my man. I know you do, because people don't. I like to bring this up here. Part of the reason we do these polling questions, and I thought long and hard about every single question we have the Warriors answer there, is all related to what reveals the patterns. And one of the most shocking answers to the questions that we had is we asked, how many people have suffered broken bonds between family members that was once super tight? Right. Super, super tight family, super tight friends. And what kind of sense does that make? Right. An innocent person goes through family court, gets his kids hijacked, in his case, his land hijacked. Wouldn't it be logical that family would come to your back? Right. Damn near 100% of everyone that has taken these polling questions has answered yes to the polling question, to that polling question. If you ask anybody in that sphere, you ask, hey, Bryce, how come you don't talk to your daughter? Or it's my daughter's fault. Hey, how come you don't talk to your dad? Oh, it's my dad's fault. Baloney. What did the numbers show? The numbers showed it's neither of your fault. It is the system. The system is that sinister. That it produces 100% of the time these broken bonds that make no sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. This is at a level that is so far beyond law enforcement here now, right? Like the only thing that you can honestly equate it to is Nazi Germany. And Auschwitz. Okay, they're not. It's a Holocaust. They're not. This is the mind game Holocaust, right? I've spoken to how many vets here? Okay, part of our group. And every single one of the vets, I've asked them the same question. If you had a choice to go back to the front lines of war or family court, every single one of them said, I would go back 4 times to war. I would go to the front lines of war. I would go to the worst aspects of war to never step foot into the family court. So, I mean, those kind of jump off the page statistics. Really, I don't understand why and how we can't get the general population to understand this. Rich, you're in the journalism business. What's your thoughts there?
I think that this story it's in the right place, the right time. I think it's going to get the right traction. I think that the media might be the only savior of this story, getting the word out there about what's happened. This is just an egregious story, and we need to find Bryce, a rabbi, basically, somebody that is within the institution. You've tried in Texas very, very hard to find one judge that would sign the order vacating this sale, that would turn this thing around, reopen it. Maybe it needs to go federal. I'm not sure, but I think all I know is that we're going to be promoting the heck out of the story and coming with a series about all the information that you have. But that's the next step here. The next step is to get people to see this is probably one of the most stark and egregious, but easiest to understand, clear-cut nature frauds that there is. It's very easy to understand. $250 million ranch, and they came and took the guy's ranch because they concocted some BS.
Yeah, but no, Rich, you don't understand. The ranch wasn't owned by Brian Quinn. It's owned by his wife. So, okay, it's all good now. Yeah, hold on, Rich. It's in the wife's name.
Yeah, that doesn't. No
problem here.
If in a real prosecution, if the feds really took a look at this, and maybe we have to go to Washington, right? Maybe you have to go to Washington and go to the weaponization task force or one of these new groups that got put in with Trump people, and they'll get a fresh set of eyes on it without the uniparty or the corrupt people there. But I think that's what needs to happen. But the only way it gets looked at big is doing this process we have right now, where we are talking about it, where you have the media start to cover it. We're going to start publishing about it. Dave has the Army mobilized, all the Warriors mobilized on this issue. So this is the beginning. It's a good beginning for me.
We gotta make them famous. We gotta make them famous for their deeds. Make them famous. Make everyone in their world know. Okay, I want to hire people to go and paper the town in Lubbock and put up actual posters. Okay, wanted posters of these people with the facts, so it's not just on the internet. It's plastered all over town. Because you know when it's going to change? When it's going to change is when Mrs. Quinn cannot leave her home, okay? Cannot go to the corner store, cannot go to her country club, cannot go anywhere in the country without people going, ew, gross. That's how you get your money. Oh, ew, ew. You're a child trafficker, okay? Oh, that's your business, child trafficking, right? Rich, you did a great job with that article that you did in my case, okay? Publishing Daniel notes about designer child trafficking. That got to his world. That got to his world.
That's what happens, and you encapsulate it that simply, and you make it as simple as anybody can understand. What really destroyed that whole the scam that was going on with you was the numbers and the wheel. If you remember that, Dave. In Dave's case, they had a wheel, and the wheel always landed on two judges. So it wasn't a wheel. The mathematics of it didn't add up. So that
it was the numbers. I came in here to say, listen, humans lie. Numbers do not lie. Well, wait a second. 25 judges in a lottery system, and all of a sudden, 75% of this guy's cases in front of two judges. That's statistically impossible. It's statistically impossible without the presence of corruption. And it made a difference in my case because I found it on their system, right? I was on NICEF. I was finally, after a year of them not letting me become pro se, I now know why. But with what little information you could get, with little information, I did an attorney search, and all you could get is who's the plaintiff, who's the defendant, who's the attorneys on either side, what date did it start, what's the case number, and who's the judge. That's it. That's the only five, 6 pieces of information you could get from the family court directly from them. And even with that alone, it's so corrupt. They're so corrupt that with just that little tiny piece of transparency, we were able to just definitively say, no, it can't exist without corruption. Can't exist without corruption. And, I think we got an opportunity to do the same thing here. I think we have the opportunity to do the same thing here. The alignment of evidence here, okay, I'm not going to say alleged, okay? Now, nobody shoots themselves in the stomach for a suicide. No one, okay? Absolutely no one. But you know what? In the court of law, okay, they can say this, they can say that. But you know what? If the court of public opinion, if everybody on the planet believes something, and these people can't leave their homes, all right, without the public shaming, right? If you look back in history, right, public shaming has worked in lieu of actual physical war. So I think we need to give that a real good, honest college try here. I mean, let's make an entire blockbuster movie out of it. Where we need some big people, to step up here and throw some real money at this thing. And let's make this the bonanza that it should be. Let's make this the bonanza that it should be. They're talking about these Netflix specials. There's some yo-yos in our industry that are selling people like, ooh, we got a Netflix special. We got a Netflix special. Okay, I got a bridge to sell you too, right? And what? Okay, what's it going to be about? TikTok dancing? Woo, woo. Let's dance our way through the family court here. No, okay. Where's Bryce's Netflix special? All right, you want a real series? Okay, we could have an entire
real stories, right,
about Bryce Chapman here and take you through how the law works in Texas.
Yeah, or how it doesn't work. How about that?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Have you ever seen anything close to this, Darren? How long you been in this game? Have you seen anything?
I've been in this game for 5 years. This is ridiculous, man. This is just asinine. We know that they lie all the time, but then to put out articles saying that here we're going to auction this land here. I mean, the guy's in jail, locked up for child support. It's just absolutely asinine. You're going to tell me that that judge didn't know that this deal was coming through for the power company to sell that to the power company before all this took place. Obviously they knew about this. This was a big scam. And they had all the power to do what they had to do to take him out so that he didn't do it. This is just, it's asinine. It's ridiculous. Doesn't hold this case. Nothing else that we even talk about holds a candle to what has happened to this gentleman here in this whole thing. Nothing even holds a candle to it.
President Andrew Jackson did away with debtors' prisons in 1837 in the United States, and yet we have them in every jurisdiction through the family court.
Yeah.
People say it all the time. at least if I'm charged with a crime, I know that I have some rights.
Yeah.
Court, done. It's
Yeah.
out of control. It really is. But this is textbook. We see that they have 4 or 5 plays that they run. They're not that smart, but with every one of them, it leads to the same place. It leads to total financial devastation. It leads to your kids being taken away. It leads to you potentially in prison. You know, and this is what they do.
Yeah, and you know what? Another jump off the page core concept here. And the thing that just disgusts me more than anything is the amount of servicemen that have given their lives for our rule of law, for our way of life. The level of them shitting and pissing all over the graves of these servicemen, right? They died for nothing. They died for a bunch of tools, a bunch of turkeys in Texas business model, right? That's what they died for. All right. Every mother that's had to bury a son due to a war, what did he die for?
Yeah, no soldier ever gave their life to say that they wanted their kids, someone's kids taken or take their land away from them. That is absolutely not what they gave their lives for. 100%, man. No soldier said that.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting here too, going back to the Hells Angels here, right? Like, look at like 2 different groups of people here, right? Hells Angels do what? They live by a code, right? All right, they're like, you know, whatever they've ever gotten involved in over the years, whatever. All right, and the real mafia never messed with kids.
No families, no family. You left the kids and the wife alone. Period.
You even go into prison, man. Okay, they have a code in prison. You're talking about, quote unquote, the worst of the worst of society. Even these people know, okay, you don't mess with kids like that.
No, you were killed. If you messed with the family while a man was in jail.
It's their business model. They do it every single day, and they know they do it. And that's why you see these real monsters like this Black Widow up in Ulster County, right?
Oh, yeah. Elizabeth Faulkner.
when you create this system, right? Think of the mind fuck that it causes there. I can get away with anything. That's heroin, man. You got to take a bigger shot of heroin every single day to chase that high.
And Dave, the best part is the reason why that case up in Ulster County is so crazy. Why is because there's this evil man named Dave Weigel who's doing this radical that's called transparency and telling the truth.
Can you believe it?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
They're going after her big time just for knowing who I am.
They've had 3 emergency hearings because of a guy named Dave Weigel.
Yeah, and mind you, I didn't know this woman's name 6 weeks before, right? She's literally one of 11,600 people that I care about. All right, it just happened. The crux of that case was just when I found out how much this woman enjoyed what she's doing. Right? She wound up effing her own clients. Right? It's just like, what's the next thing? What's the more egregious thing that I can get away with now? That's what's going on over here. That's why they didn't do it.
I need to say it, Dave. And what she's doing is she's sipping for a guy that has, I'm going to say this very, very gingerly, connections to child trafficking rings. I'm going to say it that way. Okay, but that's what she's simping for. You can go read some of the stuff on Family Court Circus that I've written, or on my Substack to get the skinny. But it's really,
that Ulster County has got a real issue with child sex trafficking. Like that's kind of a hotbed up there, right?
There are a lot of places that are, and I know that you do a lot here on CPS on this broadcast, but there have been some real egregious stuff with the Title 4D, Title 4E money, with foster care, missing foster kids. If you have more than one missing foster kid, then in my opinion, it's child trafficking. In Illinois right now, they have almost 200 missing kids last year. Well, it doesn't take a rocket science to say the same thing that happened in Georgia a couple of years ago and Maryland a couple of years before that, where the pedos get into child protective services and they start trafficking kids from the inside. They have the inventory ready to go. They start taking kids, they start drugging them, they start using them for sex, they start selling them around, and they're money makers. And there's a lot of money to be made by these sick people.
Yeah.
So,
and
they've been catching a lot of sheriffs and a lot of judges and that are in those pedo rings and they're criminals. I mean, I read it all the time. So I hope.
And that's unfortunate because the sheriff. That's unfortunate because the sheriffs are the only legitimate law enforcement that we have in this country. They're the only ones that are voted in by the people. So for the sheriffs to get involved with this corruption, that's a big shame on them, man, because that's who the people have elected to uphold the law of this land. And for sheriffs to be a part of this, that's an absolute
I really believe it's like all of the judges in family court. If you're a decent person, you're getting filtered out within a year.
Oh, you're done.
Okay, there's no way you can exist. The police I see is different, right? I mean, we did that one protest in New Jersey. I was getting calls till 2:00 in the morning. People saying, "Dave, you're too valuable to this community. You don't know what goes on there. The second you go walk into town, okay, you're gonna get slammed to the ground." And I'm sitting there thinking, like, God, like, do I really want to risk my own future, my own family, this and that? But I knew I had the documentary crew with me. And, Bryce, you're talking about any judge can sign off on your case. I'm going to tell you here right now, what's going to make you a free man is nothing to do with the law, okay? Is nothing to do with what you've been banging the door down for so long there. Because bottom line, the real problem is who's jumping in the pool first? Why would they do that? It's not going to be from a traditional source. It's going to be like in my personal case, right? When me and my ex were started getting, and she told me, she's like, Dave, I was never going to hear, you've been telling me for years that they're ripping me off. I couldn't hear that from you. When I saw this movement develop and I saw a whole bunch of women like myself, it finally got through. And what happened? Her attorney just went over her head and issued a 48-page document. Remember, Rich, I was supposed to pay, $18,000 a month. Well, the day he issued that was the day she fired him, right? Yep. So technically, okay, according to court, okay, I'm supposed to be paying her $18,000 a month. But in real life, I wipe my ass with that, okay? And I'm living in the house. I'm the custodial parent of my kids right now. All right. And none of it happened through the law. None of it happened. Technically, I mean, we're still married. I think that might be a restraining order. So I think I'm still under a gag order, according to them. I think I might have broken it. What do you think, Rich? I might have broken the gag order by now.
They can't gag you, David Weigel. Good luck on your judge.
They can try. But yeah, so listen, I think we've got to really put our heads together here, Mr. Bryce. I'm gonna follow up. We've got, Don Finelli is our liaison to the biker community here. He's super excited. He's in contact with them. He told me that, they're in talks with the lawyers. They sent message through him to let me know that they're behind me. They like what we're doing. All right. And, he's been at this fight a hell of a lot longer. We're standing on his shoulders there. And, it just, apparently they call me the money man. They're watching the money man. But I really believe that it makes sense from their side, too. I could see a hell of a lot of Hell's Angels actually stepping up at this point. They're watching the news. They're seeing what's going on in this country. I think a hell of a lot of them would step up into this hero role and take a risk, right? And take a risk. When I went up to Ulster County and I was court watching there and everybody bailed out and everything, I didn't know I was going to stand up and point the judge down. But when I did, I was expecting, to pay the price. And you never know, okay, how you're going to be surprised in this thing when you act selflessly, when you're not running around chasing a dollar, okay, bullshitting everybody else, just pure altruism, doing the right thing. When I stood up and I pointed in her face, Rich, I was like, I'm on you. We're on you. We're on your every move, right? I'm sitting there like this. As soon as I said that, I'm like, I'm waiting to get tackled and all of a sudden the cops are all giving me eyes, right? I turned around. I said, well, I'm walking out. They didn't even walk next to me as I was walking out of the court. They just let me, I just strolled right out. I turned over my shoulder and I said, I'm on your side, right? And I got this. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I heard it loud and clear. And what I heard was there is a hell of a lot of good people in this system that couldn't, for functional reasons, step up and be the first one in the pool. But I got a call, months and months ago, okay, more law enforcement, and the call was, Dave, I've been waiting for a guy like you to show up, okay? When there's more, okay, when it's time, there's going to be hundreds joining behind you, okay? So we got to put ourselves in a position to get surprised here, I think. I think we got to put ourselves, we got to put on our creative hat and see and shake the tree in a different way, because I mean, Rich, I don't know if you were on, but I like this. I like smoking out the FBI here. Now that this is about murder, right? We're going to start selling. We got a family court fraud warrior store opening up. We're selling hats, Rich. FBI, fear-ridden victim incorporated. Okay, let FBI go down as an embarrassment, a humiliation to this country. Let them worry about their kids going to school, their grandkids going to school, and being made fun of because their mom or their dad works for the FBI. That it's that humiliating of a position. Because in my eye, it is. In my mind, it is humiliating.
They're not performing the law. They are
humiliating positions in this country. You've sold this country out, man. You've sold this country out one child at a time, man. You let people steal kids from mothers and fathers, man. Is there anything lower in life? How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself? Quit. If I was FBI and I was in there and I had to do this because my boss's boss said, quit. That's it. If you're in the FBI, you're smart enough to do other shit.
Yeah.
How could you stay there? How could you stay there in this? How could you live with yourself? I don't know. I really don't.
Wow, man.
Well, I think we might have officially made the point here. This video.
You think, Dave?
This video got an innocent man murdered. And you know what? And I hope he's looking down from heaven above. And I hope he's happy about what happened today, because at least his death is not going in vain, where nobody would ever know the truth. Okay. Now it's on permanent public record. Okay. This man did not die for anything. He died so that the world can know just the state of the law in the United States of America right now.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
And we got to rally around this man Bryce over here. And I also want to end this on, I understand that your daughter Grace, has not, and I saw those pictures of you, my man, and I know my relationship. I'm not looking to, cut you deep here, my man, but I just want to say on permanent public record, Grace, if this does get back to you here, understand, do the due diligence and understand what coercive control can do. Okay, fine. Your dad needs you. Okay, you need your dad. You got a great man here. A great man here. All right. And I see thousands of these cases, thousands of kids that have no idea who their father is, who their mother is, that they've been taught to hate, that the system has coerced and given them brain damage, a level of brain damage, because not having a relationship with this man as your father, there's only brain damage. Only mental illness can explain that. And it's high time that you willed yourself beyond this, and and come to his side.
Use your own decision. Use your own mindset.
I want to make sure that this public record is complete with all the evidence of what a great man Bryce Chapman is and how he's been able to endure this. And Bryce, my man, the one thing that you deserve, I don't know if you're going to get justice from these bastards, but the one thing I know you deserve is you deserve a life and your loving bond with your daughter back, my man. And if I can do anything about it, I'm going to certainly freaking try.
Yeah. I hope everybody reunites with their family and their moms and their dads over a system that's just torn everybody apart. And I'm going to get justice. They're going to have to give me my property back. I mean, they basically had a benefit auction. And those criminals need to go to the penitentiary and stay there for life. And that organized crime that's happening all over the country, from New York State to California to Washington to Florida to Hawaii, it's happening everywhere. And I believe it's happening all over the world. And we as people have to stand together and stop this, because it's going to continue. And there's got to be something that's got, one of these people in these agencies needs to step up and be a man and get their batteries back between their legs, and stop being weenie asses. I mean, pardon my French, but they're weak-minded. They're weak physically. They're spiritually weak. People that do this, and the women in the legal profession are the same way. You know, the men in the legal profession run over those women in the law profession too. It's going to keep happening until something happens. A group of people, NCAA, the NCAA, the NAACP, they all these agencies are put together for a reason. And like you say, Abraham Lincoln is in my lineage. He is my grandmother's first cousin, and they can do this to somebody that's supposed to be in the in crowd. They do it to every person that lives in a teepee or a tent, to a trailer park, to a mansion, to the castles. They do it to every single person. It has no socioeconomic victim. They just do it to gain power, and this has got to stop. And I am grateful.
Bryce, I agree, but I just don't think that your savior is going to come from the traditional source. I think your savior is going to come from 1,000 more Frank Lococos standing up. Okay, 1,000 more Aaron Burns, 1,000 more Amy Duncans. Okay, 1,000 more Justin Niceleys. Regular people, me, Dave Wyatt. Okay, regular people who have no business being in here, okay, having to take this position here. We've just had enough, okay? We've had enough, and we're willing to do whatever it's going to take to not be one of these people who says NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard. Everybody's always worried about, but what about my retaliation? What about me? Well, you know, welcome to the world of being selfish. This is what selfish gets you. Selfish gets you the family court. Why don't we try selfless for a while? Okay, shit certainly can't get worse. Certainly can't get worse. Why don't we try selfless for a while? Give it just for shits and giggles.
Amen to that, Dave. That's it right there.
Maybe we'll end it on that.
Yeah, that's a good way to end it. That is a great way to end it. Man, this was good stuff. I mean, I know that this fight's going to keep going. There's no doubt about it. Bryce, you're not going to be forgotten about. I mean, I'm just looking at the comments here. I'm looking at the amount of people watching, and that's just for tonight. I mean, this thing's going to be tripled by tomorrow. I bet you this thing's on the viral scale, and that's what we got to hope for, because not only do I think you should get your property back, man, but I think you should get the goddamn money that they made from it too. I think that should be a part of that whole thing. You know, like that's
what I did was I sent them a bill for $2,500 for every 10 minutes as a deterrence theory. If you throw me in jail, you have to pay me. And they did. And they signed. The judges were dumb enough to sign for it. And they said, my wife's attorney, it's $2,500 for every 10 minutes. That's $360,000 a day. You do the math, but that's a contract.
I just want to see you roll into your property with 5,000 Hell's Angels all tatted up.
Hell yeah.
And have a pool party. I want to see what the Lubbock police are going to do, what the dirty criminals are going to do to 5,000 Hell's Angels. I don't think much. I think you'll take
tell you something. Go ahead. Say that again. I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
Oh, I got to tell you a funny story. I was performing in Manawa, Wisconsin for a rodeo, and they had a parade, and there were Hell's Angels bikers parked on both sides of the road for like nearly it was about a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile. And this one biker, he says, do that on a bike. I said, well, you get out here and hold my horse, and I'll get on your bike and I'll spin that rope. So I got on that biker's motorcycle and spun my rope around it. I can't tell you how many people packed the rodeo arena that night that were motorcycle guys. It was great.
I can tell you, they can bring some force, my man. They're an intimidating group of people, especially with that loud noise and everything. And, and again, I can totally see them stepping up in this hero role. I can totally see them stepping up in this hero role.
Hell yeah.
I hope be more
They're going to.
because it's going to take something that out of left field to do what we need to do for this next this next round in this fight. And stay tuned, people. This is only getting more interesting every day.
Oh yeah. Well, guys, Dave, Bryce, Mr. Lutherman, thank you guys for coming in tonight. This was awesome. We're gonna make this thing get bigger and louder. Don't forget, stay tuned for Gunning for CPS. But everybody, keep Bryce, Dave, Mr. Lutherman in your prayers, because these guys are making a difference every day. They're fighting for everybody out there that can't fight for themselves. So
thank you, everybody watching.
These are the real
thank
heroes,
you,
guys.
warriors. Thank you, my leaders. Thank you, my volunteers. Thank you.
All right, everybody, have a good night.
Our children, the soul they are taking away. This problem could be yours. Who is knocking at your door? You need to wake up. This could be you next. Family court fraud warriors are here for the fight, taking on the courts like a villain in the night, not giving up on any family, planning to put the judges away. This could be you, listening to the song, crying for your kids that are gone. Don't let this happen. Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. Join family court, fraud warriors. Stop the corruption. Stop selling our kids. Stop casting out the dads. Stop making the moms go crazy mad. This is not the America we are supposed to be in. We need to make parenting great again. Family court fraud warriors are on the attack. Join our fight, let's get them back. We can't allow this continue. Kids saying goodbye through windows. Dad's going far away. Moms can't live another day. These courts are killing us. They are breaking families apart. They have no fear of retribution. We need a solution. Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. Give us back our freedom. Make parenting great again. They have got the support of warriors coming from all walks of life. These people stand for their freedoms. You're too weak. They are here to fight. So sleep heavy one more day. Know the help is on the way. Lead by a legend, not a tyrant. The presence he has is like a giant. No more backing down. Turn these courts upside down. Restoring faith in mothers' eyes. No more tears on the courthouse floor. Just a family walking out the door. Those times are in the past. Make parenting great again. Make parenting great again. We are tired of the corruption. Make parenting great
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?
Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they mightest feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look?